So last video I have covered what do you mean by system? How many types of system? Means six type of system like static and dynamic system, continuous time and discrete time system, causal, non-causal system, and next one is linear and nonlinear system, time variant, time invariant system, and stable unstable system. So I have covered static, continuous and discrete time system, static and dynamic system. Next one is our third one, causal and non-causal system. So this video lecture I will cover what is linear and nonlinear system, some problems I will solve. So what is linear and nonlinear system? A system is called linear if it satisfies superposition theorem. A system is said to be linear if it satisfies superposition theorem. So if it does not satisfy superposition theorem, then it is called nonlinear system. Now we are going for what is superposition theorem. A superposition theorem says that response of a linear system to a sum of signal is the sum of response to each individual input signal. So what it says that response of a linear system to sum of signal, or we can say weighted sum of signal. Okay, so if you are giving a weighted sum response, if you, for example, I am giving a this is the theorem I am giving with a depth. If for input x1 of t, we have a input x1 of t and producing its output y1 of t. Similarly, input is x2 of t, producing the output y2 of t. So then superposition theorem says what? For continuous time signal, T of transformation of A1 x1 of t plus A2. So it is the sum of signal is the sum of response of each, means A1 x1 of t plus A2 x2 of t is equal to A1 t of x1 of t plus A2 t of x2 of t. T means transformation. So what is it? Total transformation is weighted sum of the transformation of each input signal. So this is the superposition. You can say A1 y1 of t plus A2 for continuous. Similarly for discrete, t of A1 x1 of n plus A2 x2 of n is equal to A1 t of x1 of n plus A2 t of x2 of n. So this is the superposition theorem. It is always, then system is linear. If it does not always, the system is non-linear. So transformation of A1 x1 of t plus A2 x2 of t is A1 transformation of x1 of t plus A2 transformation of x2 of t. Okay, so now we are going for a problem. For example, first one, y of n is equal to a x of n plus b. Check whether system is linear or not. So first, this y of n means t of x of n. So what formula says that LHS total formula superposition, if it always, then it is linear, otherwise non-linear. So formula says that t of a1 x1 of n plus a2 x2 of n is equal to a1 t x1 of n plus a2 t x2 of n. If it always, then it is our linear system, otherwise non-linear. So I have to need to calculate what is x1 of t of x1 of n, t of x2 of n, and multiply. So this is x of n. In place of x, I will put x1. Then that is called t x1 of n. So t of x of n is a xn plus b. So what is t x1 of n? This is equal to a x1 of n. In place of x, I will put x1. A x1 of n plus b. Similarly, t of x2 of n. What is t of x2 of n? A x2 of n. In place of x, we are putting x2. A x2 of n plus b. Okay, so now we are going for LHS side. LHS side is what? T of transformation of a1 x1 of n plus a2 x2 of n, means in place of x of n, I will put a1 x1 of n plus a2 x2 of n. So it is equal to a bracket a1 x1 of n plus a2 x2 of n plus b. in place of x of n I put transformation, means that inside that transformation signal will be converted to this format. Okay, so similarly now LHS is, we got this value RHS side. What is RHS? So it is given that what is RHS side? A1 T of x1 of n plus A2 T of x2 of n. So A1 T of x1 of n plus A2 T of x2 of n. So what I got it? A1 T, A1 means A1 T of x1 of n is what? A x1 n plus B. So this is A1 into A x1 of n plus B. Okay, plus what is A2 T of x2 of n? So A x2 n plus B, it is multiplied by A2 plus A2 A x2 of n plus B. So what I got, if I take common A like above equation, I will got A1 x A1 correct, A1 x1 of n plus A2 x2 of n plus A1b plus A2b. Okay, but here plus B, so LHS not equal to RHS. So this is does not obey superposition, so it is non-linear. So I think I am clear why, as it is does not obey. You can see A1b plus A2b where it is only B, and this is same term. So as it is not equal, so it is non-linear system. I think it is clear. So second problem we will go. Y of n is equal to 2 into x of n. It is equal to t of x1 of n. T of x of n. So I will go for superposition theorem. What it says? T of a1 x1 of n plus a2 x2 of n is equal to a1 t of x1 of n plus a2 t of x2 of n. Okay, so now y of n is equal to this term, so I will go for this one. First I need t of x1 of n. What is t of x1 of n? T of x1 of n. So x1 of n means what I said, in place of x of n put x1 of n. 2 x1 of n plus 1 by x1 of n minus 1. I think it is clear. Similarly, t of x2 of n. So in place of x put x2. So 2 x2 of n by plus 1 by x2 of n minus 1. So now I will go for LHS. So LHS is t of a1 x1 of n plus a2 x2 of n. So in place of x of n, I will put a1 x1 n plus a2 x2 of n. So it is 2 a1 x1 of n plus a2 x2 of n divided, means plus 1 by a1 x of n x1 of n minus 1 plus a2 x2 of n minus 1. Okay, so in place of x of n I am putting a1 x1 of n minus n plus a2 x2 of n. So similarly, okay, so as x a1, this is a constant, so a1 of n minus 1 is not there, so a1 x1 of n minus 1 plus a2. This is LHS side. RHS side I have to do. So what is RHS side? A1 t of x1 of n plus a2 t of x2 of n. So we already calculated what is t of x1 of n. So it is a1 2 x1 of n plus 1 by x1 of n minus 1 plus a2 t of a2 2 into x2 of n plus 1 by x2 of n minus 1. So you can see here a1 a2 are the multiplied, okay, but here in denominator there, so you can say that LHS not equal to RHS. So is LHS not equal to RHS means it does not obey superposition theorem. So it is non-linear system. It is non-linear system. Okay. So second question over. Next one is third question. Y of n is equal to n into x of n. So it is equal to t of x of n. So now according to superposition theorem, t of x1 of a1 x1 of n plus a2 x2 of n is equal to t a1 t of x1 of n plus a2 t of x2 of n. If it obeys, then that is linear, otherwise non-linear. So now LHS I will go. So T of A1 x1 of n plus A2 x2 of n is equal to how much? So in place of x of n, I have to put this one. So n into A1 x1 of n plus A2 x2 of n. Now RHS side. So I need what? I need T of x1 of n. So T of x1 of n means how much I will get? So in place of x of n, I will put x1 of n. So n into x1 of n plus. So this is T of x1 of n. Similarly, T of x2 of n. So in place of x of n, I will put x2 of n into x2 of n. Okay. So what is RHS side says that a1 T of x1 of n plus a2 t of x2 of n. So it is equal to a1 n x1 of n plus a2 n x2 of n. So it is equal to how much? I will get it. And if I take common, a1 x1 of n plus a2 x2 of n. Okay. So here you can see both are equal now. LH is equal to RHS. So LH is equal to RHS. So system is linear. So this system is linear system. Next problem. Y of t is equal to x square of t. So here this is equal to t of x of t. Okay. So superposition theorem, we know that what this is equal to transformation of a1 x1 of t plus a2 x2 of t is equal to a1 transformation of x1 of t plus a2 transformation of x2 of t. Okay, so now LHS side I will go first. T of a1 x1 of t plus a2 x2 of t. So in place of a x of t, I will put a1 x1 of t plus a2 x2 of t. So that square. So this will be a1 x1 of t plus a2 x2 of t whole square. Then we are going for RHS side. So I need first t of x1 of t, t of x2 of t. So I will start with t of x1 of t. T of x1 of t is equal to x1 square of t. Similarly, t of x2 of t is equal to x2 square of t. Okay, in place of x I am putting x of x1 and x2. So that RHS side what? T of a1 x1 of t plus a2 x2 of t is already completed. So we got that what in LHS side, that is a1 x1 of t plus a2 x square x2 of t whole square. Okay, this is LHS term. RHS term what? It says that a1 t of x1 of t plus a2 t of x2 of t. Okay. So what is a1 t of x1 of t? T of x1 of t how much? x1 square. So a1 x1 square of t plus a2 t of x square of t. What is t of x2 of t? x2 square of t. x2 square of t. So is it equal? I don't think so. LHS, this is equal to not, because this is a square. A square plus B square plus 2 means A1 square x1 square of t plus A2 square x2 square t. So LHS not equal to RHS. So system is nonlinear. Next problem. Y of t is equal to E of x of t. So it is E of x of t. So now we have to go with superposition theorem. Transfer of a1 x1 of t plus a2 x2 of t is equal to a1 transformation of, okay, so transformation of a1 x1 of t plus a2 x2 of t is a1 transformation of x1 of t plus a2 transformation of x2 of t. Okay, so LHS side if I go, transformation of a1 x1 of t plus a2 x2 of t is equal to how much I will get? E to the power a1 x1 of t plus a2 x2 of t. Okay, similarly RHS side. So RHS side is what? A1 t of x1 of t plus a2 t of x2 of t. First multiply a1. So t of x1 of t. T of x1 of t means in place of x of t put x1. So e to the power x1 of t plus a2 e to the power x2 of t. So it is not equal LHS, not equal to RHS. So it is nonlinear system. So next one, y of t is equal to t square x of t. So it is t of x of t. So superposition theorem says that if it obeys, then that is a linear system, otherwise non-linear. So t of x1 of t, a1 x1 of t plus a2 x2 of t is equal to a1 t of x1 of t plus a2 t of x2 of t. Okay, so t square x of t. So first thing LHS, t of a1 x1 of t plus a2 x2 of t is equal to, so in place of x of t you have to put a1 x1 of t plus a2. So t square of t square into a1 x1 of t plus a2 x2 of t. RHS. What is RHS? a1 t of x1 of t plus a2 t of x2 of t. So it is equal to a1 t of x1 of t means it is t square x1 of t, in place of x put x1, t square x1 of t plus a2 t of x2, in place of x put x2. So t square x2 of t. So it will be t square if I take common a1 x1 of t plus a2 x2 of t. So it is equal to, both are equal, you can see LHS equal to RHS, as LHS equal to RHS, the system is linear. Okay, this is one type of problem. Another type of problem is that if you have a differential equation, so dy by dt is equal to 3t y of t is equal to t square x of t. Okay, so first thing what you have to assume here, condition you remember, weighted sum of input, we are producing weighted sum of output, like that condition linearly is there, then you can say this system is linear, otherwise non-linear. So first what to do, we will start with let for input x1 of t, output is y1 of t. Similarly, for input x2 of t, output is y2 of t. Okay, so first we will start with, I will start with the equation that what I will do, I will convert first equation d and multiply that input, what is x1 input, output y1, multiply by a1. Okay, so first I will do it, dy y1 of t by dt plus 3t y1 of t is equal to t square x1 of t. So I will multiply this input side, this total, both input and output by a1, first equation, this equation. So a1 dy1 of t by dt plus 3t y1 of 3t a1 y1 of t plus a1 t square x1 of t. Similarly, I will go for input x2, output y2 and multiply by a2. So I will let it read equation 1 dy2 of t by dt plus 3t y2 of t is equal to t square x2 of t. So this is a2 dy2 of t by dt plus 3a2t y2 of t is equal to a2 t square x2 of t. So adding both equation 1 and 2, if I first I add it, d by dt of a1 y1 of t plus a2 y2 of t. Next means add equation 1 and 2 plus 3 t if I take common a1 y1 of t plus a2 y2 of t is equal to t square if I take common a1 x1 of t plus a2 x2 of t. Okay, so you can say that this is weighted sum of output, weighted sum of output. This is also weighted sum of output. This is weighted sum of input. So weighted sum of input transformation produces weighted sum of output. So this is system is linear. If it is not, these equations are not linear, it means weighted sum of inputs and outputs, then that is called nonlinear system. So this is linear system. Weighted sum of input, weighted sum of output. Okay, so the response of weighted sum of input equal to weighted sum of output. Okay, this is weighted sum of output. The response of weighted sum of input is equal to weighted sum of output. So this is called linear system. Second question, dy by dt is equal to 2t x square of t. So let's similar condition, input x1 of t, we will get a output y1 of t. Okay, similarly x2 y2 of t. So we will process same like as above equation. So here always if differential equation is there, you have to follow this process. So dy y1 of t by dt plus 2 y1 of t is equal to x1 square of t. Then I multiply by a1 dy y1 of t by dt plus 2a y1 of t is equal to a1 x1 square of t. Okay, similarly dy2 of t by dt plus 2y2 of t is equal to x2 square of t. So if I multiply a2 dy2 of t by dt plus 2 a2 y2 of t is equal to a2 x2 square of t. So adding both d by dt of equation 1 and 2, this is equation 1, this is equation 2, adding both equation 1 plus equation 2, what you will get, d by dt of a1 y1 of t plus a2 y2 of t is equal plus, if I might take the common 2, a1 y1 of t plus a2 y2 of t is equal to a1 x1 square of t plus a2 x2 square of t. So it is a non-linear addition. You can see x1 and x2 non-linear weighted function addition, non-linear weighted function addition. This is weighted sum, but here input type summation is non-linear weighted function. So this is non-linear weighted function. That's why it is called non-linear system. So you clear, because it is non-linear function, that's why it is called the non-linear system. So next one is d of dyt by 2. Same, we are taking input. This is x1 of t, output y1 of t, input x2 of t, output y2 of t. Okay, so we will produce dy1 of t by dt plus 2y1 of t is equal to x1 of t into dx1 of t by dt. So multiply this with a1. So a1 dy1 of t by dt plus 2a1 y1 of t is equal to a1 x1 of t dx1 of t dt. Okay. Similarly, dy2 of t, this is equation 1, y2 of t by dt plus 2y2 of t is equal to x2 of t into dx2 of t by dt. So if I multiply a2 dy2 of t by dt plus 2a2 y2 of t is equal to a2 x2 of t dx2 of t. Okay, so if I add both equation 1 and equation 2, equation 1 plus equation 2, what you will get? D by dt of a1 y1 of t plus a2 y2 of t plus 2. Okay, so 2 into a1 y1 of t plus a2 y2 of t is equal to, so it is, okay, a1 x1 of t dy1 of t by dt, a2 x dx1 of t by dt plus a2 x2 of t dx2 of dt. So it is a1 x1 of t dx1 of t by dt plus a2 x2 of t dx2 of t by dt. So it is non-linear function, this input side. Okay, so this is system is non-linear. So this problem y of t, I think it is clear. So this is the total concept. I think what is linear, non-linear system is clear. If it is weighted sum of input is equal to weighted sum of output, and we can say if it obeys superposition theorem. So there are two types of problem: differential equation or integration. There we go another method by putting input x1 of t and considering output y1 of t, and we multiply the equation by a1. Similarly, x2 of t, input x2 of t, output y2 of t, multiply a2, addition we will do both equation if it is that one. Then another, if problem is normal, no differential or integration, then we will go for transformation of a1 x1 of n plus a2 x2 of n is transformation of a1 x1 of n plus a2 x2 of n is this is a1 if it obeys the superposition theorem, a1 transformation of x1 of n plus a2 transform of x2 of n, if it obeys, then that is linear, otherwise non-linear. So two condition, two type of problem solved. If any doubt can be asked. So thank you.